Good morning, everyone. I am RJ Guadalquiver, a BSc English 2A student, and I am one of the reporter of Group 1. And today, we will be discussing to you about bilingual education and the bilingual education policy, or BEP, in the Philippines. And the learning goals in this lesson is at the end of the lesson, you will be able to first understand the four languages situation that could affect a bilingual education policy. Second will be examine the Philippine bilingual education policy document to fully understand its goal, implementing mechanisms, and challenges encountered in the language education. And lastly will be write a personal account of your language education experience. And before we dive in with our main lesson, we should know what is bilingual education. Bilingual education is a program of instruction that uses the student's language as a tool of instruction while they begin learning English or his or her second language. In this program, the language used in giving instruction is their native language, or also known as first language. And the common bilingual education models include transitional, immersion, two-way immersion, and developmental programs. With this, the research finding that the students benefit from extended use of their native language will help them to develop more on learning their second language. Before you analyze the Philippine BEP, or bilingual education policy, it is vital that you have a clear grasp of the key terms that will be used in this unit. So this unit are, the first key terms will be bilingualism. Bilingualism is used to describe two languages of an individual. Specifically, it refers to the ability of an individual to use two languages. So this means that bilingualism refers to the person or the ability of a person who can communicate, speak, and write two languages. Second key term will be diglossia. On the other hand, diglossia is a term that is used to refer to the use of two languages in a societal level. Diglossia is a situation in which two languages is used in under a different condition within a country, often used by the same person or the same speaker. And according to Fishman 1980 and Baker 2006, characterizes diglossia as the presence of majority and minority language in a specific geographical area where each language is used for a specific purpose, audience, and context. So majority language is the language that is used more specifically by the most of the population in a specific area or in a country, and minority language is the minor population in a country that uses that kind of language.
Hello everyone, my name is Nurhalisa Tukulan from BSN English 2A, and I am the fourth reporter of the Group 1. So, Philippines has two official languages, which is the English and the Filipino. English, also known as the global language, it is commonly used for formal and business communication, while Filipino is recognized as the national language. Such status afforded to these two languages were first refined in the bilingual education policy promulgated in 1974 when the Department of Education mandated the use of English and Filipino as the media of instruction for both primary and secondary schools. And in 1987, the advocacy of pursuing a bilingual nation competed in both Filipino and English by Gonzales and Sibayani in 1988, and it was strengthened by the 1987 Constitution, identifying Filipino as the language of instruction of Filipino and Araling Panlipunan, and also the English as LOI, a letter of intent that is document written in business letter format that declares your intent to do a specific thing. and MOI, a medium of instruction that is certificate which states the language in which you completed your degree education.
So, good day everyone. I am Roger Adornado, third reporter of this group. So, today I'm here to discuss the Philippine Bilingual Education Policy or the BEP and its significance in our educational system. The BEP was established in accordance with the 1987 Philippine Constitution mandate and the National Boards of Education resolution on bilingualism in school. This policy was put into effect by Department of Education, Culture and Sports or the DECS with the issuance of Department Order Number 25 of 1974. Bilingual education here in the Philippines is defined as the use of both Filipino and English as medium of instruction in specific subject areas. According to the DECS Order Number 25, Filipino is utilized as the medium of instruction in social studies, music, arts, physical education, home economics, practical arts, and other character education, or mostly known as our minor subjects, while English, on the other hand, is allocated for science, mathematics, and technological subjects. For example, in a bilingual classroom or multilingual classroom, a history lesson may be conducted in a Filipino, while lesson in mathematics may be conducted in English. This approach aims to enhance the student proficiency in both language as well as their overall understanding of different subject matters. By utilizing both Filipino and English instructions, students are able to develop their language skills and critical thinking abilities across various disciplines. The 1987 policy on bilingual education further reinforces the subject allocation, as outlined in Department Order Number 52 of 1987. This policy underscores the importance of bilingualism in educational settings, highlighting the benefits of proficient in multiple languages. Therefore, in conclusion, the Philippine Bilingual Education Policy or the BEP plays a crucial role in promoting bilingualism and enhancing the overall educational experiences of the students. By utilizing both Filipino and English as a medium instructions, students are able to develop their language skills, critical thinking abilities, and overall academic performances. So that's all for my report. So I hope you learned something from me. Thank you for your attention.
Good day, my name is Amalia Ciernquilo from BSED English 2A. My report was all about the Policy of Bilingual Education or BEP. First, the policy of bilingual education aims to be the achievement of competency in both Filipino and English at the national level through the teaching of both languages and their use of media of instruction at all levels. The regional language should be used as auxiliary languages in grade 1 and 2. The aspiration of the Philippine nation is to have its citizens possess skills in the Filipino to enable them to perform their function and duties in order to meet the needs of the country and the policy of the nations. So the first policy aims for us Filipino to be able to communicate both in native and English languages to achieve competency nationwide. And it should also be taught in schools, but not neglecting the native language. Also, to be able to compete not only here in the Philippines, but also to perform well even in the outside of the country. The goal of the bilingual education shall be enhanced learning through two languages to enhance quality education as called by the 1987 Constitution. The propagation of the Filipino as language of literacy, the development of the Filipino of linguistic symbol of the nation only and identify the cultivation and elaboration of Filipino as language of scholarly discussed, that is to say, the continuing intellectualization and the maintenance of English as an international language in the Philippines.
So hi, my name is April Joy Molina. So today I'm here to discuss another bilingual policies. So first is the Filipinos and English shall be used as media of instruction. The use of allocated to specific subjects in the curriculum as indicated in the Department Order Number 25 Series of 1974. So the bilingual policy outlined in Department Order Number 25 Series of 1974 mandates the use of both Filipino and English as the media of instruction in the Philippine educational system. So Filipino and English as media of instruction, excuse me, this part of the policy states that the both policy and English, both Filipino and English should be used for teaching in schools. The allocation of these languages to specific subjects is intended to harness the strengths of each language to enhance learning. Typically, the subjects taught in these languages are Filipino. So is generally used for teaching subjects related to the national identity, culture, and history. This includes subjects such as social studies, Filipino language, and sometimes values education. English. So English is typically used for teaching subjects that require for global or technical perspective. These subjects include science, mathematics, and English language arts. So, another policy we have here is the regional languages shall be used as auxiliary media of instruction and as initial language for literacy where needed. So, excuse me, regional languages as auxiliary media of instruction. So, this aspect of the policy recognizes the diverse linguistic landscape of the Philippines. It allows regional languages to be used as supplementary media of instruction. This serves two primary purposes. So first is auxiliary media of instruction. So regional languages can be used to aid instruction, especially in areas where students are most comfortable with their mother tongue. This helps in better comprehension and retention of information. Initial language for literacy. In early education, these regional languages can be used as the initial language for teaching literacy. This particular important in areas where children enter school speaking as regional language rather than Filipino or English. Starting literacy education in child's first language can provide a strong foundation for learning additional languages later on. So by balancing the use of Filipino, English, and regional languages, the policy seeks to create an inclusive educational environment that respects linguistic diversity while fostering both national identity and global competitiveness. So that's all.
Good day, I am Analea Amdan and I am one of the reporters from Group 1. So I will be tackling about the policy as it follows from the Philippine Bilingual Education Policy. So I have here the two statements, which is the letter E and letter F. So it states here that Filipino and English shall be taught as language subjects in all levels to achieve the goals of bilingual. So what do we mean by this? So the statement says that in our educational framework, Filipino and English are designated language subjects to be taught at all levels. So this approach is implemented to fulfill the objectives of bilingual education. So by incorporating both Filipino and English language instructions across all educational levels, students are provided with a comprehensive language learning experience that aims to develop proficiency in both languages. So this bilingual approach is not only enhances students' language skills but also promotes cultural appreciation and foster effective communication in a multilingual society. So so the next statement, which is the letter F, it it says there that since competence in the use of both Filipino and English is one of the goals of the bilingual education policy, continuing improvement in the teaching of both languages. So their use as media of instructions and the specification of their functions in Philippine schooling shall be the responsibility of the whole education system. So meaning to say that the statement, it says there that the bilingual education policy aims to improve teaching in Filipino and English. So their use as mediums of instruction and their defined roles in the Philippine education system. So this responsibility falls on the entire education sector to ensure proficiency in both languages. And that would be all for my report. Thank you.
The intellectualization of the Filipino language is crucial for enhancing the cultural and the linguistic identity of the Filipino people. Tertiary institutions as well as elementary and secondary levels play key roles in promoting this goal. Collaboration between the Department of Education, Culture and Sport and the National Language Commission is vital for the enrichment of and development of the Filipino. Tertiary institutions have actively engaged in research projects, conference, and curriculum integration to explore the complexity of the Filipino language. Elementary and secondary levels have implemented programs to enhance teaching and learning of Filipino through materials development and teacher training. The partnership between the Department of Education, Culture and Sports and the National Language Commission has led to initiatives promoting Filipino as medium of instruction and raising awareness about the importance of preserving and enriching the language. These are the recommendations to preserve and enrich the language. First is to maintain collaboration for a comprehensive language development approach. Second is develop more initiative to promote the use of Filipino in various sectors. Third is increase awareness of the significance of preserving and enriching the Filipino language among the public. The intellectualization of Filipino is essential for preserving the cultural heritage. Through ongoing collaboration between stakeholders, progress has been made in advancing the status of Filipino as a language of intellectual discourse and cultural expression. Continued efforts will furthermore enhance the intellectualization of Filipino. That's all for my report. This is Princess Faith A. Francisco from BSED English 2A.
Good day everyone, my name is Maynard Pito from BSED English. So for today's video, I'm going to discuss to you the two statements. So first is
The Department of Education, Culture and Sports shall provide the means by which the language policy can be implemented with the cooperation of government and non-government organizations.
this statement means that the Department of Education, Culture and Sports is responsible for ensuring that the language policy is put into action. They will work together with both government and non-government organizations to make sure that the language policy is effectively implemented. This collaboration is essential for the successful execution of the language policy across various sectors.
The next statement is the department shall program funds for implementing the policy in such areas as materials reduction, in-service training, compensatory and enrichment program for non-Tagalogs, development as a sustainable and standardized Filipino for classroom use, and the development of appropriate evaluate instruments.
So here's the second statement means outlines the allocation of funds by the Department of the implementation of the language policy. The funds will be used for various purposes, including the production of educational materials, providing in-service training for educators, offering compensatory and enrichment programs for individuals who are non-proficient in Tagalog, creating a sustainable and standardized version of Filipino for classroom instruction. and developing appropriate assessment tools to evaluate and effectiveness of the language policy implementation. These initiatives are crucial for ensuring the successful execution of the language policy and promoting language development and proficiency among learners. So that's all for my report. Thanks for listening. Bye.
So good day everyone, I am Satria Dawa, one of the reporter of Group 1, and today we are going to answer the learning activities. Some common terms used in bilingualisms and bilingual educations along with their meanings. So the first one here is monolingualism. The meaning of monolingualism is the ability to speak or use only one language. A monolingual person is someone who speaks only one language. The second is majority language, the language that is spoken by the majority of people in a particular country or regions. For example, English is the majority language in the United States. Number three is minority language, the language that is spoken by a minority of people in a particular country or regions. Just for examples, Spanish is a minority language in the United States as it is spoken by a smaller percentage of the populations than English. Number four is assimilations. It is the process of becoming similar to or fully integrating with a dominant culture. In the context of bilingualism, assimilations of fans refers to the pressures that minority language. So number five here is additive bilingualism. It refers to accusations of a second language without negatively affecting the development of the first language. In additive bilingualism, both languages are seen as an equally important and valuable. So the last one here is subtractive bilingualism. The accusations of a second language that result in the loss of decreased use of the first language. This often happens when minority language speakers are pressured to assimilate and prioritize the majority language over their native language. So that will be all. I hope you learned something. Thank you.
Good day everyone, I'm Crystal Malari and I'm going to tackle all about the monolingual forms of education for bilinguals. So we are up to identify what are the types of program involved in each number. So in the first number, so minority language children are denied access to programs or schools attended by the majority language children. So the answer for this number is segregationist, as this type of program involves denying minority language children access to programs or schools attended by the majority language children. So this segregates minority children and prevents them from interacting with their peers who speak the majority language. Then on the second number, this program, language minority children are grouped in one class. So the minority first language is not developed, but is replaced by the majority language. So this deprives the language minority children with the opportunity to interact with their native speaking peers. So it is also more challenging for language minority children to understand what their teacher is saying because the language of instruction, or LOI, is the majority language. So the answer of this number is mainstreaming or submersion or structured immersion. So in this program, language minority children are placed in one class where their minority or first language is developed and is replaced by the majority language. So this can hinder the language development of minority children and can make it more challenging them to understand their especially their teachers who speak the majority language. And on the last number, it says that one example of this program is when language minority children are pulled out from their mainstream classes and are required to receive specialized instruction like taking ELS or English as a second language classes. So, this program poses problems because pulled out students fall behind the other students on the curriculum content. So it says that this program involves pulling language minority children out of their mainstreaming classes to receive specialized instruction as such as ELS classes or what we call English as a second language. So while this program aims to provide support for language development, so being pulled out of mainstream classes can result in language minority children falling behind in curriculum content compared to their peers. So the answer of this number is it's mainstreaming submersion with withdrawal classes or sheltered English.
Hi, I'm Nids Madansalan and I will be tackling weak forms of bilingual education for bilinguals. The first one is transitional. The second one is mainstream with foreign language teaching. And the third one is separatist. So the first one, this program provides initial instruction in the student's first language and instruction in the first language is phased out over time. It is highly criticized because it is remedial, compensatory, and segregated where language minority children are separated from the mainstream. So this means that these programs provide initial instruction in students' first language and it gradually phased out the minorities and the mainstream. It is between them. So the second one, the language minority deliberately separates themselves from the language majority where monolingualism in the minority language is fostered, which results into limited bilingualism among the language minority. So this means that it fosters monolingualism in the minority language by separating language minority. So the third one is majority language children are taught in their home majority language with additional foreign language lessons. The problem with this setup is that relatively few students become competent in the second language. So this means that foreign language teaching involves majority language children receiving additional foreign language lessons, but few students achieve significant proficiency in the second language.
Types of language programs for bilinguals. Typology of bilingual education programs has 10 types, classified into 3 monolingual forms of education. For bilinguals, weak forms of bilingual education and strong forms of bilingual education. Monolingual forms of education for bilinguals. Number 1, segregationist. Minority language children are denied access to programs or school attended by the majority language children. Minority first language is not developed but is replaced by the majority language. This deprives the language minority children with the opportunity to interact with their native speaking peers. It is also more challenging to the language minority children to understand what their teachers is saying because the language of instruction is the majority language. Number 3, submersion with withdrawal classes, sheltered English. One example of this program is when language minority children are pulled out from their mainstream classes and are required to receive specialized instruction like taking English as a second language or say ESL classes. This program poses problems because pulled out students fall behind other students on curriculum content. Weak forms of bilingual education for bilinguals. Number 1, transitional. This program provides initial instruction in the student's first language and instruction in the first language is phased out over time. It is highly criticized because it is remedial, compensatory, and segregated, while language minority children are separated from the mainstream. Number 2, separatist. The language minority deliberately separates themselves from the language majority where monolingualism in the minority language is fostered, which results into limited bilingualism among language minority. Number 3, mainstream with foreign language teaching. Majority language children are taught in their home majority language with additional foreign language lessons. The problem with this setup is that relative few students become competent in the second language. Strong forms of bilingual education. Number 1, immersion program. Regular curriculum taught partly in target language is used less than half the time considered enrichment. Number 2, maintenance heritage language. Preserve ethnic identity, culture, and language of minority groups, helping children stay connected to their roots. Number 3, two-way dual language. Similar to immersion but with equal numbers of minority and majority language students. Teaching half the curriculum in each language. Number 4, mainstream bilingual for majority student or temporary residents in bilingual society, where curriculum content is learned through the student's second language.
Good day everyone, I am Marjorie Perez Capin from BSED English 2A. So, in this video, I am going to answer some questions. In your own words, write a one-sentence summary of your understanding for each program type. First, we have immersion program. In my own perspective, immersion program is an educational experience where participants are fully immersed in a specific environment or culture to enhance their understanding and skills in that particular areas. Next, we have maintenance or heritage language. This is to serve the purpose of preserving the ethnic identity, culture, and language of minority group members. Next, we have two-way or dual language. This means that both languages are equally valued and students can learn from each other. Lastly, mainstream bilingual, meaning that children like majority students or temporary residents whose native language is an international language such as English.